Manchester United take on St Etienne this Thursday night. Europa League football is back. Now, a lot of fans are probably worrying shitless over this because it's been horrific to our league form in the early part of the season, but thankfully we haven't got a league game for a while. We've got a lot of cup games to contend with now, so I would expect Jose Mourinho to put a full strength team out almost in this tie. I wouldn't expect too many changes because I believe we've got the FA Cup game is in the weekend, and I believe we've got the return leg of this game. I believe it is next week, if I'm not mistaken, or it is very soon. So if Manchester United can win this game comfortably, which I'm praying we can in the first leg, if he puts out a full strength lineup, then the second leg he will be able to rest players the likes of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Paul Pogba, them sort of players. And also for that game against Blackburn, he should be able to at least put the likes of Zlatan Ibrahimovic on the bench for that one, because at this moment in time Blackburn are having a torrid season, and I wouldn't expect them to be too bothered about progressing in the FA Cup, because the chances of Blackburn winning the FA Cup are very slim, and they'd prefer to stay up in the Championship rather than win the FA Cup, which is crazy to say these days, but people care about the league form more than they do the cup competition, which is a shame, but I wouldn't expect them to care too much about that either, so they can have a rest in them games. I would expect him to go, as I say, with a fairly strong lineup. David De Gea in goal. I'm hoping he does change the fullbacks and plays Fosu Mensah on the right hand side and Luke Shaw on the left hand side. I would expect it to keep Bay and Smalling in the centre of defence. I wouldn't expect him to risk Rojo and Jones for this game, as they've both been injured, and we don't want them to be injured for the running, because we've got a shitload of games coming up now, the League Cup coming up, final coming up as well. I would expect probably Carrick to come back, and he hasn't played the last few games, so I reckon it will be Herrera, Carrick and Pogba in there. And then I reckon he will go the other front forwards that he's played in that game against Watford. So Juan Mata would miss out for obviously Carrick, so we'd play a slightly different formation. And then you'd have Mkhitaryan out one side. Martial's got to keep his place really. Hasn't played a lot of football lately, so it's not really a problem if he keeps his place. And then Zlatan Ibrahimovic up front. I know some people are going to disagree and not want such a strong lineup in this game, but I personally want this game done and dusted in the first leg so we can move on. Going away to St Etienne in France isn't ideal if we've only got a slender lead in this game. If we can, I would like us to get a 2 or perfectly a 3 or 4-0 victory would be absolutely perfect, because we saw in that Hull game in the League Cup semi-final that a 2-goal lead was nervy, because they actually did score the first goal, and then it does put doubts in, because one more goal and then they're back on level terms. So if we could get a 3-goal lead, 3-0 lead for this tie, I would be absolutely fantastic, because then we can almost sit back, rest a few players, the likes of Bastian Schweinsteiger, Fellaini, all them sort of players can come into the starting lineup for that game in the return leg, whenever it is, a week or so's time, and we don't have to really worry so much, because they're probably not going to come and beat us 4-0 at home. And our away form in Europe has been pretty poor, as we've seen in the group stage. We struggled to beat teams. Zoya Luhansk was the only one that we've actually won in a long time. We only won that one because they're not a very good side. The other games we struggled in. So I'm expecting Manchester United to get the victory in this. I would expect Jose Mourinho, as I say, to put out this sort of lineup. I don't know too much about St Etienne. I know Paul Pogba's brother plays for them, so it could be a bit feisty between the two brothers. How competitive they are as brothers, I do not know, but I would expect that to be a nice battle for them. And I'm expecting Manchester United to comfortably win this. I'm going to go for Manchester United win this game 2-0. I think we will get the job done. I hope though that we can get more goals, because against Watford we did squander a few chances. Mkhitaryan blew him in one over the bar. Zlatan having some long range shots when he could have maybe passed it and that. Hopefully we can be a bit more clinical. Martial is banging form, so I would expect us to start being a bit more clinical, and hopefully soon I would expect Manchester United to swat aside a decent side. And these are no mugs. They're probably, I mean, we've swatted aside Reading and Wigan, but they're Championship opposition. I'm hoping at some point we can either swat aside a Premier League side or one of these sides in the Europa League in the first leg, so we can get it done and dusted, so we don't have to worry about it for the second leg. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and hopefully we can win this Thursday and move on. Talk to you all again soon.